The Chase Sapphire Preferred is a great card, and I think gets a lot of unnecessary hate, but at least for me, I think I just found a better option, that being the Chase Ink Preferred. The CSP gets overlooked for a lot of different reasons, but I think it can be a great card for the right person. For example, the Amex Gold card is a much better earner, getting 4x back on both dining and US supermarkets, and it doesn't have that same limitation that comes with the CSP of having to be online groceries. But it does come with a price tag of $325 and a bunch of credits that aren't exactly loved by people out there, given all the "I'm canceling my Amex Gold card" videos that I've seen over the last several months since the refresh. For the right person, I think the CSP is a great card, and it can be a perfect fit for a lot of people out there given its lower annual fee of $95. So this is not a video where I'm going to tell you about all the issues that I see with that card. But given my spending habits and the fact that I do have that Amex Gold card, I'll explain why the Ink Preferred is a better fit for me in my situation. With the cards I've added, I am actually in that camp of earning the most amount of points that I can with every dollar spent, and I will cover that in detail in an upcoming video, so make sure you subscribe to the channel down below if you want to check that out. The CSP is really only getting used at this point for streaming services to earn 3x back and for my miscellaneous travel purchases to earn 2x back. Now that you know how I'm spending on my Chase Sapphire Preferred, let's take a look at how it compares to the Ink Preferred. What you're seeing on the screen here is richwithpoints.com, and this is by far and away the best credit card website. I can't believe I only found this just a couple of days ago, and there's so many capabilities built into this website, but what you're seeing here is just the card comparison tool. So I've obviously gone ahead and added both the Ink Business Preferred and the Chase Sapphire Preferred, and as you'll see as we go through this, there's a lot of similarities between the two cards, but as we start to scroll down, you can see obviously the first major difference is the difference in points that you can get from the sign-up bonus, and the fact that the Ink Preferred is a business card. Once I apply and hopefully get approved, it will not actually count towards my Chase 524 status. But scrolling down a little further, you can see it's that same $95 annual fee. And right away, as we get into a travel category with airfare, this is where some of the differences between the two cards start to become evident. But continuing to scroll down, again, the car rentals and all these different travel categories are going to be much higher on the Ink Preferred side versus the CSP. Thinking about that cell phone carrier category, not that it is for me, given that I currently have a company phone for my full-time job, and my fiance is actually on her mom's family account still, so she just Venmos her mom every month. We don't actually have a need to spend in this wireless category. But since we're getting married later this year and we'll be starting our own family and own wireless family plan someday, I think this is great knowing that we have this high category on this Ink Preferred card. And there's one more thing that I'll touch on towards the end of the benefits with this card as well. Kind of skipping through some of these other categories, again, all the hotel purchases, same to the airlines. I see myself just using points. The internet and cable category, while that 3x back that you get with the Ink Preferred is great, I do get a $10 discount on my $100 Wi-Fi charge every month from Verizon by transferring directly from my checking account. So given that you're getting 6x back for those internet purchases, it doesn't really make up that difference of that $10 discount that I'm currently getting. Lyft, not something that I use, so don't really care about that category. The marketing and ad spend is something I could see myself using with maybe my or my fiance side hustles. And again, more of these different travel categories, which are always going to outweigh the CSP. The only other thing that I do see myself using is that general travel category for those Airbnbs, and that Uber category I don't really care about, given that I have to use one of my Amex cards to be able to use my Amex Gold $10 monthly credit. Continuing to look through this comparison, again, the dining category, this is one of the things that I think could separate this card, at least for an everyday user. And they could easily use this Chase Sapphire Preferred as their dining card. As you can tell, with that value equalizer of the points, you're earning essentially 6x back for those dining purchases. The groceries category, as I kind of alluded to in the beginning, is only for online grocery purchases, so there are some workarounds for this, and I guess it may just take some getting used to if you do want to take advantage of that category, but I don't really think that it's worth putting in that extra time and effort. And again, for me, I do have the Amex Gold card, just making my life that much easier. All the way at the bottom here, you can see the streaming services. This is the main difference, I guess, between the two cards, at least the way that I'm currently using the Sapphire Preferred. And while I won't cancel right away, so I will still be earning that 3x back on my streaming services, it's something to consider in the future if I do have plans to, say, cancel the Sapphire Preferred and just hold the Ink Preferred card. Not that I will right away, but let's just say fast forward to October of next year and I do want to cancel my Sapphire Preferred because obviously now I have the Ink Preferred. Again, hopefully I do get approved here today. Looking at how much we spend on streaming every year, it is a lot, and YouTube TV just went up in price. I do like to watch the NFL, so I bought that additional package through YouTube TV, and I am a sucker for those UFC pay-per-views. Those travel purchases usually come out to a few $1,000s every year, which could easily be lower moving forward given that I'm now into this credit card game and earning all these points. But typically we have 1, maybe 2 car rentals that we need to do for some miscellaneous trips. And we do like to go away to an Airbnb at least once a year up to a lake house in the middle of nowhere, Vermont, to just sort of get away for a long weekend. Or now that my fiance has turned me into a skier, we do like to stay at least a few times every winter in some different lodges or rentals, depending on how far away that mountain is from home. Anyone that skis knows there's nothing worse than skiing all day, taking off your boots, your legs are sore, and all you want to do is relax, but you have to drive 3 hours before you can even shower and finally lay down. So assuming we spend $2,500 on streaming every year and $4,000 just to use even numbers, currently with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, we're earning roughly 15,500 UR points. But again, if fast forward a year from now and I do have that CSP canceled and we wanted to shift all of our travel spend just to the Ink Preferred to earn 3x back, even if I'm only earning 1.5x back with my Freedom Unlimited on those streaming services, you can see that because we're spending more on travel, that difference is more than made up for. So going back to that card comparison tool to take a look at the difference in some of the different benefits with these cards, the first major difference being that 10% annual spending bonus that you get with the CSP. Both cards do have that primary car rental insurance, so you can always waive that when we are renting cars. Like I said, it's only once or twice a year, but it is nice knowing that I still have that benefit with the Ink Preferred. That cell phone protection, as I kind of mentioned before, we wouldn't currently use that, but again, I can definitely see us using that category in terms of the spending multiplier, and it's nice knowing we have that protection with the Ink Preferred. Getting down to some of the credits, you can see that this is, I guess, where we start to lose some value with the Ink Preferred. Not that it's much, and I don't even really use DoorDash or Instacart, so those credits on the Sapphire Preferred don't really mean anything to me. I guess I could technically use those, but when I calculate my own effective annual fee on these credit cards, I don't like to do anything outside of the norm when it comes to using some of the different credits. So not having that $50 Chase Travel Portal credit on the Sapphire Preferred, I am technically losing out on that $50 in value, but it's not really the end of the world in my eyes. And scrolling down towards the bottom here, that complimentary 4th night free that you get on the Sapphire Preferred, I have never and probably would never use that. And down at the bottom here, the 5x back on Peloton or 5x back on Lyft, again, not really being used by me in my organic monthly spending habits. I'm an Uber guy. And that 25% boost that you get when booking with UR points through Chase's travel portal that you can see here on the card comparison tool is actually available on the Ink Preferred as well if you go over to their website. So I'm not losing out on that 25% boost at all by adding this card. And it does actually have a lot of the same travel and purchase coverage protections. I think the only difference here is mainly that you're not getting airline luggage, but nevertheless, still a lot of great benefits with the Ink Preferred, at least in terms of what I know that I will actually use. So I guess at the end of the day, I'm really losing out on that 3x back on streaming, and I'm losing out on that $50 in value for the Chase Travel Hotel credit, which again, is not that big of a deal, but is definitely a key difference between the two to mention. At the end of the day, a $50 difference in terms of the effective annual fee doesn't really matter that much to me and will not prevent me from applying. And in terms of the value that I can get from the ability to transfer out to Chase's travel partners with both of these cards, that more than makes up for that loss of $50 in my eyes with the Ink Preferred. So let's get into the application, and I will actually go and grab my fiance's referral number, which if I did log in and show you that, you'd be getting way too much of my personal info. So let me go grab that and I'll be right back. Taking a look at the cards that I've applied for over the last several months, just so you can see all the cards that I have in my wallet, my current 524 status, which as you can tell, I am technically at 524, but one of those cards is that Amex Gold card, which my fiance holds and I'm only an authorized user on. So hopefully it's not an issue when I go to apply. Outside of that, I'm sure you've heard by now that Chase is definitely tightening up approvals when it comes to the ink card. So it is my second ink card. So maybe that could play a factor in if I do get approved or not. So I did just grab my fiance's link and I followed that to go ahead and apply for this card. And the use of that link is actually one of the things that we plan on doing throughout this year, referring each other back and forth to these different ink cards to earn as many sign-up bonuses and referral points as we can between the two of us. So as you know by now, I'm going to apply for the Ink Business Preferred card. So let's go ahead and click click apply now. So scrolling through here, and something that I did for my previous Chase Ink Unlimited card is apply as a sole proprietor using my social security number. So I plan on doing the same thing for this preferred card until I actually register an LLC and get an EIN number, when I plan on applying for all these ink cards all over again. So I will kind of skip this first section for now. I'm not going to fill out all of my personal information here for you guys, but scrolling down a little bit further, you can see this is where you can enter your financial info for your gross annual income and also your expected expenses every month. And right here as well is where you can fill out the business structure and all the business details and all that type of stuff. So let me go ahead and fill this out and I'll get right back to you and we can hit apply. All right, with all that information filled out, we can take a look and scroll through quickly. The pricing information, I've already read through this while I was away for a second, so I can just rip through this really quick with you guys. All right, let's scroll down to the bottom here. These certifications, again, which I've already read multiple times now on my other applications, and I already did as well. After reading through all that, I'll click on I've read and agreed to the above, and the moment of truth, let's click submit. Always the most nerve-wracking part. Let's see. I am an existing card holder, but I am technically a 524 with that American Express Gold card being an authorized user card. All right, so there it is. You'll receive a letter for more information about our decision within 7 to 10 days. So exactly what I expected, as I mentioned before. Hopefully it's as simple as just calling up reconsideration and explaining that one of the cards that they see on my current credit report is actually an authorized user card. So unfortunately, not an instant approval, but again, something that I've dealt with before. I just hope that it doesn't take as long this time. That Ink Unlimited took me over 3, almost 4 weeks to finally get approved for after trying to call up Chase multiple times. So not the end of the world at all. And if you have to go through this yourself, I wouldn't worry too much, especially on the business card side, about not getting an instant approval. Hopefully it'll just ask for some simple information. I can flip that into an approval and then use this card as I laid out in this video. So hopefully you got some value from how I compared the different preferred cards, the business and the personal versions, and how you could hopefully see that that Ink Preferred card will in the long term be a better fit for me. But let me know down below in the comments what you think about the difference between these two cards and what you could see yourself adding if you don't have one of these already. If you want to see my wedding credit card roadmap, at least right now before it changes here in a couple of weeks, make sure you check out this video next. Or if you're just looking for more content on how you and your significant other can maximize your spending and your rewards, make sure you check out this video instead. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate your time, and I will definitely keep you updated on what happens next with this Chase Ink Preferred card. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.